Hello. Today we are on site at the Coffee Creek Correctional Facility to talk about the Oregon Way. I know you've heard now the terms the Oregon Way or normalizing and humanizing. Some of you have already wrapped your arms around these concepts, while others of you are rolling your eyes as I speak. And that's okay. For a while, I rolled my eyes too, but I don't do that anymore. Let me share with you my journey over the past couple of years and how I moved from a place of eye rolling to a place of fully embracing the Oregon Way. In 2017, Director Peters received a phone call from the Prison Law Office in San Francisco, California, and they wanted to know why the Oregon Department of Corrections didn't submit its application to participate in a trip to Norway to learn about the Norwegian prison system. The director explained we simply didn't have the capacity as an agency to take on yet another project or another initiative, but they were very persistent. They wanted Oregon to join because Oregon was the closest state in the nation in aligning with the principles of the Norwegian correctional system. So we decided why not? It won't hurt to join the trip, and maybe we would be able to bring back a few nuggets of good information. Because really, Norway can't be doing things that much different or better than Oregon if we lead the nation. But we couldn't have been more wrong. In 2017, a contingency from Oregon visited Norway for the first time. And I will say, at first, I was a little underwhelmed. We pulled up to a prison that in no way looked like one of our prisons. There was essentially a big concrete wall around a prison and a parking lot. Nothing like you see when you pull up to one of our prisons. But once you walked inside, we saw something very different. We saw healthy and happy staff who loved their jobs. And the key to all of this was the normalized environment in which they worked and the humanizing way they treated the men and women in their custody. And we immediately knew that we needed to make changes in our correctional system for your well-being. But how? We knew we couldn't do it alone, and we knew it couldn't be a top-down approach. We had to bring line staff to Norway, and we needed an organization to fund the trip. And this is where our partnership with the Amend program came to life, because the Amend program receives generous donations to achieve its goals of improving staff wellness for correctional employees and for segregation reform, two of our agency's top initiatives. It was a perfect fit. In less than 1 year, we were back on a plane to Norway with a great team by our side. Our security staff not only had the opportunity to tour prisons, but they participated in an exchange program where they lived with their counterpart for 3 days, and they got to have one-on-one conversations about what it's like to work in the Norwegian correctional system, and even job shadow their counterparts on shift. To say this was an incredible experience for all who attended is an understatement. Many would describe it to you as life-changing. In fact, a couple individuals thought they were going to have to quit their job when they returned home because they were no longer capable of doing business the same way, knowing there is a more humane, effective, safe, and healthy way to run prisons. So we had to very quickly talk them out of quitting because we needed them to bring these concepts and ideas home to all of you. And that is really how the Oregon Way came to life. I want to quickly recognize the team that went with us to Norway. They represented us so well. They were professional, kind, and willing to keep an open mind to new ideas. And I just can't thank them enough. As I said, today we are on site at the Coffee Creek Correctional Facility in Wilsonville, our only women's prison and men's intake center in Oregon. So let's hear what Superintendent Paula Meyers has to say about what the Oregon Way means to her and the changes the team here at Coffee Creek have made around staff wellness.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my perspective on Norway and how we are beginning to normalize the environment for employees at Coffee Creek. Much like Ms. Stewart, I was happy to have been selected to tour the Norway prison systems, but was skeptical about what was being described as this amazing approach to managing prisons. Having spent 30 years working in public safety and the majority of that time at DOC, I thought we had a pretty amazing approach already. I've seen firsthand how correctional agencies work in other states while doing audits as the chief of security. Quite frankly, I have always been thankful to come home to Oregon. My initial skepticism about the Norway model quickly turned to wonder. I was immediately struck by how staff related to the vision and how empowered they felt to make life better within the walls. I know that Oregon does good things, and it hit home when our line staff returned from their homestays with a different outlook. I wanted our employees to feel that same way. There are obvious differences in our staffing levels in comparison to the Norway model, but it reminded me of my experience as a correctional officer working at what was then the Oregon Women's Correctional Center. The facility was smaller, and the staff had professional but personable relationships with one another. For me, the Oregon way is like coming full circle in my career. I'm very proud of the hard work our staff do every day, but I'm not satisfied knowing that we can do more. The majority of an employee's time is not spent on break, and it is spent on a housing unit. In Norway, it seemed as if no matter where I looked, there were always at least 2 staff working together. With that in mind, we took a look at how our units were designed. During the 90s, new prisons were built to compartmentalize our work. Add in the rise of technology, we found ourselves being more disconnected from one another. So in collaboration with line staff, we developed a plan to pilot a different staffing model in our JK housing unit to address staff isolation. We closed down the unit control point, and we have moved the door controls to the officer station on the unit. By doing this, we've added an additional staff member to the floor and returned the ability for the correctional officer to control their housing unit without compromising security. We've already heard from staff working in this unit how much they enjoy working directly with one another. We hope to continue to refine this process and implement this model of staffing to all of our celled housing units.
Hey, Corporal, how are you?
How you doing, ma'am? How are you?
I'm great, good to see you. I see you got the control point on the unit.
Yes, ma'am, we did. We've had it for about a month and a half.
So what changes has this brought to you?
Well, what they were looking at doing is we had a control point and then we had one officer on each unit. And
Okay.
now what they've done is brought the control point down on the floor. So you're not so isolated. Before it was pretty much just one staff there. Now you've got 2 staff down here, and honestly, it's helped out greatly. I'm not a real big fan of change. I still have a flip phone,
Right.
if that tells you anything. But going into it with an open mind, there's a lot of benefits, I think, to this now.
That's great to hear. How have the other staff responded?
I think they're thinking along the same lines. Some of the issues we've dealt with, especially with the dynamics in our facility here, a lot of hospital trips that go out, a lot of different programs where we need staff for collateral duties. And it's just a lot easier to move staff around. If I need a bathroom break, I got somebody right there and go take care of it. Something copied, another inmate I need to talk to in a different unit. So rather than calling, as we had to in the past, and say, hey, can I get someone here to relieve me to go take care of this? And
Right.
a lot of different steps. It's just a lot more efficient and fluid.
Yeah, if I remember right, you guys did have a problem with break schedules in the past. So this has helped a lot with relieving people for
Tremendously.
breaks.
Oh, absolutely.
That's great to hear. Sounds like it's working.
It is.
All right, good to see you.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah.
Coffee Creek's Wellness Committee has been the driving force for identifying ways to improve staff break rooms. The renovation of our employee wellness room was already in motion before my trip to Norway, and I was excited to see it come to life.
I am Katie Ray, and I'm the chairperson for the Coffee Creek Wellness Committee. This actually used to be the room for the AIC's cosmetology program, and when that program grew, they moved into a bigger room, and this one became vacant. So it was put out to the staff of ideas of what we could do to use for this room. We can make more opportunity for the staff members to be able to step out of the life of work and actually have some place where they could unwind. They came up with the ideas of everything that you see in here. We got new furniture, we got a foosball table, we got ping pong, we've got air hockey, the massage chairs as you see that I'm sitting in. And then we came up with paint schemes and let the staff bid on which paint scheme they wanted, and that's why we got the purple wall with the gray. Staff had responded to this room very well. Of course, the massage chairs are the #1 things that everybody comes down to. It gets used a lot, and I've been real happy with the outcome of how well the staff have come to utilize the room and appreciate the room.
Consider this Heidi Talk to be a mini-series. This is part 1 of showing you the good work happening across the state as we implement the Oregon Way.